Good morning, everyone. A pleasant and refreshing morning to you. I say refreshing because I'm sure that you can feel the breeze coming across. And to most of you, this is perhaps a wow experience. And as I've noted to the officials here at Walker's Reserve, in the Barbadian contest, this is perhaps one of the best kept secrets. So I welcome you to Walker's Reserve, and I welcome you to this morning's tree planting prize giving ceremony. The second year in which we have staged the tree planting competition, and the second year in which we have received tremendous response and indeed success. I take great pleasure in recognizing and welcoming Minister of Environment and National Beautification, Blue and Green Economy, the Honorable Adrian Ford. I also recognize those who were instrumental in the planning and the judging of the tree planting competitions. Darren Phillips, coordinator of the tree planting project, Mr. Carlos Jilts of the National Conservation Commission, and dendrologist Mr. Nigel Jones. Of course, the staff complement, and officials here at WIRED, we also recognize and thank you so much for allowing us the opportunity to merge and to certainly be in a totally different experience. The entire staff complement of the ministry, those connected with the tree planting, the clean and green exercise, and other elements of the ministry. And perhaps you're wondering why I'm acknowledging all these people and not the winners. Well, I've left you for the last, so to speak. They're the ones responsible for us being here today. And so we thank you for your participation and we recognize you as winners. Why are we doing this? What are the outcomes, the reasons, and how does it match the mission of the Ministry of Environment and National Beautification? I now invite Darren Phillips, the coordinator of the tree planting competition and the tree planting project, to speak to you about the project and also about the competition and the outcomes of such. So please do acknowledge him.
Hi, good morning all. What can be described as a keenly contested national tree planting competition of 2022. Sorry. These three competitors here are responsible for the planting of over 3,250 trees. And that's an amazing feat for three persons. So you need to give them a round of applause as well. This national tree planting competition has tied in or augmented to the 1 Million Trees program under the Ministry of Environment and National Beautification, which has some mandates that we must fulfill. One is that of the international obligation. We speak about the Paris Agreement that we have signed on to. Another one of those mandates speak about food security. And with the influx of trees being planted, I hope in the next 5 to 6, 7 years to see a number of orchards in Barbados that will lead well into agro industries. This is linkages that can be worked between the demand and the supply chain. Also, we're going to look at the environmental sustainability as well that the mandate covers, along with beautifying the landscape of this country. When we first started this year, we have a total now of over 420,000 trees planted in Barbados. That needs to be commended for as well. With Walker's Reserve matching even half that needs to be commended as well. These partnerships between ministry and private sector, we need a lot more of. And we were assured that come next year, we'd have at least 100,000 more from Walker's Reserve, and the ministry will be there with their hand by hand. We have a theme that says in our ministry that trees save lives. That's such a big and wonderful statement because it does. And as I will finish and say, when you plant a tree, you not only love yourself, but others and future generations to come. Thank you.
I noted earlier that for you, this perhaps is a wow experience. And now you know that in Barbados there are contributors to the exercise of tree planting, contributors to that notion as it relates to sustainable development and climate change. And I now invite the managing director here at Walker's Reserve, Jerome Wood, to tease you perhaps and give you some information as it relates to Walker's Reserve, what is done here, and why is it important to establish the necessary partnerships. Ladies and gentlemen, do acknowledge Jerome Wood.
Very much. Greetings and good morning, everybody. I'm happy to see everyone here today. One of the things that always makes me smile when I see people come to Walker's Reserve and you sit down and you bask in the breeze is the fact that we're here today celebrating, congratulating activity that it truly is amazing because it benefits not just us here, but the future generations. It benefits the birds and the bees and the worms and things that can benefit from this seed, this tree that was planted. But it also produces food, supports a livelihood from somebody who can benefit from that tree, that seed that was planted. And then sometime in the future when it takes root, it grows and it develops, that's some place where somebody could take a breath, sit back, take a little ease, provide shade. There's a space and a place where you can reflect and reconnect and connect with nature. And that's what we're about here at Walker's Reserve. We're about regenerative development, regenerative business, activities that not just benefit the trees, benefit the plants, but also benefit the individuals that are part of our community. And what you're seeing here at Walker's Reserve is an iconic development because you're at a place where every road, every standpipe, every guard wall in Barbados, they got a piece of this land in it. Because as you know, for the last 50 enough years, this was Walker's sand quarry. The sand hole, as Beatrice know it. Now it's being regenerated, transformed into a space that's breathing new life into the space. New life into the ecosystem, but also new life into the community that surrounds it. And when individuals come to Walker's Reserve and they look over the landscape, they see the beauty. But within that beauty, there's also examples of climate resilience. The methods that were used traditionally, cuscus grass planting on contour to protect the landscape so that you don't got as much erosion and land slippage. That's protection. That's protection for houses, that's protection for properties, that's protection for communities. There's also the production of food, not just using traditional techniques, monoculture, but polycrop culture. Polyculture that has multiple species involved that create a new ecosystem, one where the biodiversity flourishes, where you don't just have 20 million plants in a row, but you got a variety of species, where all of the microorganisms, the birds, the bees, the different pollinators are able to benefit. And at Walker's Reserve, through these regenerative techniques that we've been using, we're able to see these species coming back into the East Coast. The ospreys, the migratory birds. And it really is a beautiful thing. And today, I just want to congratulate the persons involved in this activity and this prize giving, because this is a partnership that we've been involved in for the last couple of years. In 2019, we started the One Tree for Every Bajan program. And since then, we've been partnering with the Ministry of Environment and National Beautification. Maybe not to the full extent that we would have wanted to, but we've been there together. And every one of us involved do playing our part to put these trees in the ground. And at Walker's Reserve, we've planted over 115,000 plants. Whether food-producing plants, pollinator plants, soil stabilization plants. And this is an activity that I want to get every Bajan involved in so that we can see the benefit that is necessary to build a better Barbados and a future that we want all the youths to see, that can push Barbados as an example for climate resilience and productivity in not just the Caribbean, but the rest of the world. So thank you, everybody. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And I trust that at some point in time you will get a chance to read what is noted here, the what trees do and what we get as it relates to the planting of trees. And it was noted by Jerome, and certainly in echoing the ministry's mantra, trees save lives. When you speak about sanitation, the work of the sanitation personnel, and how important that is, when we speak about National Conservation Commission and the extended work of those involved in the NCC, when we move across and we look at coastal zone management, when we make reference to the green and blue economy, when we highlight the importance of cleaning and greening Barbados right across the Barbadian landscape, there's one principal factor, an entity that is in the midst of it all. And that comes in the form of an individual. Ladies and gentlemen, the one who just never keeps quiet. Let's welcome Minister Adrian Ford.
Thank you, Anton. Morning, all the distinguished guests, all. I am worried today. Worried to you, Ian. Worried to Walkers. I am worried to the comments by Darlene. I'm worried to your comments, Jerome, my good friend. There was a call 2 minutes ago, and I will reiterate that call by Darlene for the private sector. And I want those who like to watch the CBC News or the public affairs when they speak to understand that in order for us to have a successful Barbados, there must be partnership. Partnership is one of the 5 P's for sustainable development. And unless there is, Nigeria will call it an equal gamos, an unequivocal relationship coexisting, a homeostasis that Jerome will call it. Somebody may speak about symbiosis because we understand that biodiversity and trees and all those things make a perfect ecosystem when things work symbiotically. We understand that. I am saying the only way that this can happen is if persons in the private sector take a leaf. I use the word leaf today, man. No pun intended. Take a leaf, because I don't want you to take a leaf off the trees. Take a leaf in a metaphorical way from the book of Ian and Jerome and all those persons who are here saying today, we are going to make Barbados a clean and green environment. Give him a heartfelt round of applause, please. But most importantly, what are we doing? Every single tree that is planted, even the vetiver or the caucasus grass, as we will call it, as a countryman myself, a man of the soil of St. Andrew, my neighbor's stream was very short, above in King Garden. And I made no apology by saying I am a Christchurch Josephine. And people don't understand I'm a neologist sometimes too. But I want to say that when we plant trees, every single tree is able to remove at least 48 pounds in the adult stage of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Now, what does that mean? Barbados, as a small and developing state, we produce about 2 million tons out of the 48 billion or so that the world produces yearly. A small amount. But it is the small contributors, those small countries like Barbados, who feel the full effects and raft of these natural disasters. We feel them. And we don't have the financial wherewithal to be able to resuscitate after the tragedies. So although we produce the least, we are mostly affected, or highly affected. And that is the problem that we are faced with as a small country. So what do we have to do? We have to put up our hands and say, this is the way how we are going to rebuild our country. This is the way how we are going to mitigate in a natural way. This is the way how our hands are going to come to the collective plow to rescue, restore, and rebuild Barbados. And what Ward and Walker Reserve is doing speaks volume to my message today. Because the only way we can do it is if the private sector becomes the active components. Government can't do it alone. You heard them say it. We planted about, in total, 420,000 trees. So every time you plant a tree, I want Barbadians to remember that they are reducing that harmful gas from the atmosphere. And I want to speak about some things I'm seeing happen across Barbados, because I'm seeing the wanton cutting of trees across the landscape of Barbados. And I'm appealing to Barbadians today to reach out to the only dendrologist in the Western Hemisphere. He has a name. I won't say that he's Jones, but he Jones is. But he has a name that is synonymous with trees and tree planting. And he can tell you about every single tree that exists in Barbados, none other than Nigel Jones, the lone dendrologist in the Western Hemisphere. So I'm appealing to Barbadians when they go to cut trees to reach out to Nigel, and he can explain to you where to cut on the canopy, how to cut the tree, the angle to use so that the trees can survive when done, because oftentimes we cut trees, according to Barbadians, in tutus, because they like to speak a little Bajan in between. And in not too distant future, the trees die. So reach out to Nigel and those in the NCC, the Botanical Garden, so they can advise you how to cut these trees. I am saying we can reach that million only if we continue being steadfast in our philosophy, steadfast in our commitment. Use expenditure like these three persons before me and say to Barbadians, we are going to raise the green carbon sink. Equally, I have already spoken to those in the blue economy, because I believe right now as it stands, we have about 20% of the carbon dioxide being sequestered in our country from the green carbon sink. 80% of our forestry is in the Scotland district. If we are able to do what WIRD has done and multiply, and this time next year we have 800,000 trees, then we'll be able, in combination to the blue environment and what we are doing with the reefs, we'll be able to see that we can move from 20% each. That's 20, that we will move it to 40% from the green economy and 40% from the blue economy. And you're looking over probably about a million or so, about 800,000 pounds, 800 tons, of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere of the 2 million that we produce. And then you look at what is happening in the energy sector, we will become a carbon neutral country in a natural way. So within the Renewable Energy Trust and what we are doing with the greening of the green economy and the restoration of the reef, then we can say to the rest of the world, Barbados is finally a carbon neutral environment. That's what we can say to the rest of the world. And that is our goal by 2030, to be as carbon neutral as possible. So I want to laud you today. I want to say to you, continue in your efforts. You have done Barbados proud. You have certainly done the world proud, because it is these little things that will, when they add up in block form, that will make the big difference. We can only mitigate in a natural way these vagaries. Some person may call it idiosyncrasies of climate change and natural disasters. If we allow our natural environment to be the fighting forces, biodiversity. You can't have that biodiversity unless you have trees. You can't have ecosystem restoration and land-based solutions that we so smartly talk about unless there is a tree planting drive around the country, around the world. All I'm saying to you today is that you have done Barbados proud, and I want you to stand and take a salute on behalf of the government of Barbados for a job well done. Thank you. You can turn around to the camera. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to leave you with one simple maxim that I created in the ministry, but I did not only create this because it was a huckleberry, not a kindergarten chicken licking moment. I created it because I believed that it could take shape and it could make a change in this country. I want you to repeat after me. Trees save lives. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much, Minister. Thank you so much. 720 trees were planted. And for that purpose, the judges, having been throughout Barbados and recognizing and responding to those who were participating in the exercise, the third place, planting 720 trees, is Melissa Wharton. And Melissa will receive the check prize of $3,000. Planting 1,230 trees and receiving a cash prize of $5,000 is Michelle Seal. He planted 1,300 trees. And receiving that special gift, check for $15,000. Ladies and gentlemen, Damari Griffith.